There is a particular kind of change that does not announce itself loudly. It does not arrive as a storm or a collision or a rupture in the fabric of your ordinary day. It arrives instead as a quiet but irreversible shift in what you are capable of wanting. A door opens, you notice it, and the moment you notice it, the version of you that existed before the noticing is already gone. That is the quality of what the sky is carrying today, April 28, 2026. Not disruption, not urgency, something more difficult to name and, because of that, far more lasting. Venus in Gemini is forming an exact trine to Pluto in Aquarius. The moon has stepped across the threshold into Libra. The sun sits steady in Taurus. And what is building between these planetary bodies is not pressure that demands release. It is permission. Permission to want what you have been afraid to admit you want. Permission to feel the depth of what you actually feel, rather than the manageable surface version of it that fits neatly into ordinary life. Today, something in the architecture of desire becomes visible in a way it has not been before. And once you have seen it, you cannot unsee it. Before we move deeper into what this day holds for you, I want to share something with you directly. You can now order personalized reading on my website. Your birth chart is the map your soul chose for this lifetime. A personal astrology reading built from your exact birth data reveals your cosmic identity, your soul's key focus area, hidden karmic patterns woven through your chart, a month-by-month forecast for 2026, and a personal closing transmission about where you are right now and what is shifting. You receive a warm personal audio reading delivered to your inbox and a detailed written PDF report. Provide your full name, date, time, and place of birth at checkout. Delivered within 48 hours. The link is in the description. Most conversations about intense astrology reach immediately for the difficult aspects. The squares, the oppositions, the conjunctions that feel like two forces slamming into each other and demanding something be resolved before anyone moves forward. There is real power in those configurations. But the trine operates differently, and understanding that difference is essential to understanding what April 28th is actually offering. A trine is a 120-degree relationship between two planets. In the geometry of the zodiac, it connects signs of the same elemental family. Venus in Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius are both in air signs. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius form the air trine, the elemental triangle of the mind, of ideas, of the invisible but very real architecture through which human beings understand themselves and reach toward each other across distance, across uncertainty, across the gap between what is felt and what is said. When two planets connect across this triangle, their energies do not clash. They recognize each other. They flow. What one planet reaches toward, the other already understands. Venus governs what you love. Not in the abstract romantic sense alone, but in the full breadth of the word. What you find beautiful. What you are drawn toward without needing to justify the draw. What you value when nobody is watching and nothing is at stake except the truth of your own preferences. Venus governs the quality of desire, the texture of attraction, the gravitational pull you feel towards certain people, certain experiences, certain futures that feel more alive than the available alternatives. In Gemini, Venus is curious, verbal, mentally alive. It is drawn to ideas as much as to people. It finds beauty in conversation, in the exchange of perspective, in the moment when two minds touch across a question neither one had fully formed before the speaking of it. Pluto governs depth. Pluto is the planet of what lies beneath the surface of things, beneath the surface of you, beneath the story you tell about your life and what it means. It is the force that does not accept the first answer, or the comfortable answer, or the answer that makes everyone in the room feel at ease. It insists on the real answer. Pluto governs transformation at the level of the root system. The kind of change that does not merely rearrange the furniture of your life, but rewrites the structural foundation on which the furniture rests. In Aquarius, Pluto is transforming collective structures, the invisible systems through which power moves in societies, through which ideas spread, through which human beings organize themselves in relation to each other at scale. But every collective shift is made of individual shifts, and today, Pluto reaches from Aquarius toward Venus in Gemini with an open hand rather than a closed fist. The trine between them is not a demand, it is an invitation. It says, the depth that Pluto carries is available to you today through the medium of Venus. Through what you love, through what you find beautiful, through what you are genuinely drawn toward. The gate is not guarded today. The usual resistance between surface desire and deep truth softens. What you want and what is real about you are more closely aligned on April 28th than they typically manage to be, because the planetary geometry is supporting that alignment rather than complicating it. This is why the change today does not feel like a crisis. It feels like recognition. A recognition that has been building for some time, perhaps for months, perhaps longer, and that today reaches sufficient clarity to be named. The moon is the fastest moving body in the sky. It changes signs approximately every 2.5 days, shifting the emotional texture of the collective atmosphere with it. The moon entered Libra in the early hours of April 28th, and its presence in this sign adds a specific and important dimension to the Venus-Pluto trine that deserves careful attention. Libra is the sign ruled by Venus. It is the sign of partnership, of balance, of the considered weighing of what is held on each side of a relationship, of a decision, of a question about what genuinely matters and what merely seems to matter because of habit or proximity. When the moon moves through Libra, the emotional atmosphere of the day turns toward relational questions, not with drama or urgency, but with a quality of measured awareness. The Libra moon notices. It observes the balance of things. It feels with unusual acuity where something is out of proportion, or where something that has been neglected long enough. With the moon in Libra on the same day that Venus forms a trine to Pluto, what is being activated is not simply a pleasant ease between two planets. The moon in Libra is the emotional witness of this aspect. It is the felt dimension of what the Venus-Pluto trine is opening. If Venus trine Pluto is the door, the Libra moon is the quality of light that falls through it when the door swings open. That quality of light is relational. It falls on your partnerships, your close connections, the places in your life where two people stand in some kind of meaningful relation to each other, and the balance between them has either been honored or it has not. This is not about blame or grievance. Libra, at its most evolved, is not interested in assigning fault. It is interested in truth, in the honest accounting of what is present in a relationship, what the relationship is actually built on, what each person in it is genuinely contributing and genuinely receiving. The Libra moon today asks those questions from a place of emotional steadiness rather than reactive urgency. It is capable of seeing clearly because it is not caught in the middle of a crisis. The trine from Venus to Pluto provides the depth. The Libra moon provides the fairness of observation. What this means practically is that today carries unusual capacity for honest relational clarity. Not the kind that wounds, the kind that liberates. The kind where you look at something that has been fuzzy or complicated or emotionally charged for a long time and you find that the complexity has simplified itself. Not because anything was forced, but because the sky today is holding a particular quality of light in which the true shape of things is more visible than usual. The sun in Taurus is adding its own grounding presence to all of this. Taurus is the sign of what endures, of what is genuinely real rather than merely idealized, of what can be held in the physical world as well as the emotional one. The sun in Taurus does not rush. It does not demand that the insight of a trine become a decision by the end of the afternoon. It says, take the clarity this day offers and let it settle into something stable. Let the recognition become real in you before you build anything on top of it. The sun in Taurus is the anchor point that ensures today's opening does not simply evaporate once the aspect passes. It gives the opening somewhere solid to land. Mars and Mercury are both in Aries, adding directness and forward energy to a day that might otherwise be entirely contemplative. There is an impatience in Aries that does not sit well with open-ended reflection. It wants to know what the insight means for action, what happens next. where the momentum goes once the clarity arrives. This is useful. It means today does not only open a door and leave you standing in front of it, wondering. It also provides the impulse to step through. Aries, the Venus-Pluto trine moves through your 5th and 11th houses, the intersection of creative self-expression and the communities you belong to. What you create and who witnesses your creation are in unusual alignment today. A connection within a group setting may reveal something genuine about what you are actually building with your life. Pay attention to admiration that arrives from an unexpected direction. It is pointing at something real in you. Taurus, Venus rules your sign, and today Venus is in conversation with Pluto across your 2nd and 10th houses. This is the axis of your material resources and your public standing, your earned income and your reputation in the world. The trine between them today opens a channel of understanding between what you value privately and what you are building publicly. Something about how you present your work to the world becomes clearer. The two dimensions of your outer life are speaking to each other with unusual fluency. Gemini, Venus is moving through your 1st house while Pluto touches your 9th. This is the pairing of your immediate self and the wider world you are reaching toward. Your beliefs, your philosophy, your desire to understand life at a larger scale are being touched by Pluto's deep hand today. And Venus in your own sign is the vessel through which that depth becomes personal. Something you learn today, or a conversation that reaches further than usual, rearranges something in how you understand your own direction. Cancer, the trine falls across your 12th and 8th houses, which are among the most internally powerful houses in the zodiac. The 12th house holds what is hidden, what has been set aside, what operates below the level of daily consciousness. The 8th house holds the depths of intimate bonding, the places where two people genuinely merge rather than merely coexist. Today, the connection between these two private territories becomes more navigable. Something you have kept even from yourself begins to surface, not with drama, but with a quiet readiness to be acknowledged. Leo, the Venus-Pluto trine runs across your 11th and 7th houses, your friendships and communities on one side, your partnerships on the other. These two areas of your relational life are rarely in easy conversation. What you want from close friendship and what you want from a primary partner can feel like they belong to different versions of you. Today they speak the same language. A friendship may deepen into something more significant, or a partnership may open outward toward a shared community purpose that neither of you had articulated before. Virgo, this trine activates your 10th and 6th houses, the axis of public vocation and daily practice. There is a link being forged today between the work you do in the visible world and the daily habits, routines, and disciplines through which you sustain yourself. Something you have been doing quietly and consistently is being seen at a level beyond the immediate. A deeper pattern of dedication is becoming visible in your professional life. Do not discount the significance of that visibility. Libra, with the moon in your sign today, you are the emotional center of this aspect. Venus trine Pluto moves through your 9th and 5th houses for you, the axis of meaning and creative joy. What you believe life is for, and what genuinely brings you pleasure, are meeting each other today with unusual directness. Something you love doing, something that has always felt personally meaningful, is revealing its larger purpose. The joy is not frivolous. It points at something true about your path. Scorpio, Pluto is your traditional ruler, and today Pluto reaches in harmony toward Venus across your 4th and 8th houses. This is some of the most intimate territory in your chart. Home, family, your psychological foundations on one side. The depths of intimacy, of shared resources, of what you and another person build together in the most private dimension of your life on the other. Something in this territory becomes newly navigable today. A conversation that needed to happen may happen with surprising grace. Sagittarius, the trine falls across your 7th and 3rd houses, partnership and communication. The way you speak and the person you are speaking to are in unusual alignment today. A conversation with someone significant, or with someone who turns out to be more significant than you initially realized. carries more weight than the surface exchange would suggest. Say what you mean. The quality of directness available today is considerable, and the person receiving it is more ready than you might expect. Capricorn, Venus trine Pluto touches your 6th and 2nd houses for you, the axis of daily work and personal resources. There is a link between what you give your time and energy to each day and what you are materially building for yourself over time. Today that link becomes tangible. Something in your daily effort is revealing its accumulated value. This is not a dramatic event. It is more like looking at something you have been working on for a long time and realizing, with quiet certainty, that it is real. Aquarius Pluto is in your sign, and today it reaches toward Venus across your 5th house. This is the house of joy, creativity, romance, and the expression of what makes you distinctly yourself rather than simply a participant in collective systems. Pluto in your 1st house has been transforming your sense of identity at a deep level for some time. Today, Venus opens a channel between that transformation and the dimension of your life where you simply get to enjoy being who you are. Something becomes lighter. Not because the depth has gone anywhere, but because depth and delight have found a way to coexist. Pisces, the trine moves across your 4th and 12th houses, the 2 most private and internally oriented houses in your chart. Your home, your family, your sense of belonging on one side, your interior life, your spiritual resources, what you carry privately on the other. These 2 territories speak to each other today with unusual ease. A sense of being held, of being supported by something larger than immediate circumstances, arises not from external reassurance but from something recognized within your own experience. Trust that recognition. There is a question worth sitting with once an aspect like this has been named and mapped and distributed across 12 signs. The question is not what does this mean for me? It is what do I do with what I now know? Venus trine Pluto is not the kind of aspect that produces sudden confessions or dramatic reversals. It is not the aspect of the unexpected lightning strike or the conversation that upends everything in a single afternoon. It is the aspect of the quiet recognition that has been gathering for months and that today reaches a degree of clarity sufficient to be consciously received. The door it opens is not dramatic, but it does not close again. That permanence deserves attention. When something becomes clear under an aspect like this, the clarity does not simply fade when the aspect separates. Pluto does not allow what it has touched to return to its previous state of unconsciousness. Once depth has been accessed through the channel Venus opens today, that depth becomes part of your available range. You cannot unknow what you know. You cannot unfeel what becomes feelable on April 28, 2026. The question is what you choose to do with the territory that has become newly accessible. The Libra moon that accompanies this aspect is pointing in a very specific direction with that question. It is saying that what is newly accessible today is relational in its nature. It is about another person, or about how you understand your connection to other people, or about what you are genuinely willing to offer and genuinely willing to receive in the domain of close and meaningful relationship. The Libra moon does not favor dramatic gestures, it favors honest ones. The small adjustment that actually reflects the real weight of the recognition, rather than the large declaration that performs it. The sun in Taurus is asking for patience alongside honesty. It is saying that what opens today does not need to be immediately resolved into a plan of action. Taurus understands that some recognitions need to be lived with for a time before they can be built upon. The quality of today is more like seeing the land clearly than like breaking ground. The breaking of ground will come, but the seeing clearly must come first, and it must be allowed to be simply that, without the pressure of immediate utility. Jupiter remains in Cancer through this entire period, and it is providing a kind of emotional generosity to everything the Venus-Pluto trine is opening. Jupiter in Cancer is the placement that knows how to feel something deeply without being overwhelmed by the depth. It knows how to hold a large emotion with the kind of intelligence that honors its full weight without being capsized by it. If what today opens is larger than you expected, Jupiter in Cancer is the steadying presence that reminds you that your emotional capacity is greater than your fears about it. You can hold this. You have always been able to hold more than you have been given credit for, including credit from yourself. Saturn in Aries adds its honest demand to the picture. Saturn does not allow recognition to remain purely interior. It eventually requires that what is true be brought into the architecture of your actual life. Not necessarily today, but the clock begins running from the moment of recognition. Saturn in Aries does not accept indefinite postponement of what is real. It is the planet that eventually makes the cost of avoidance greater than the cost of honesty. Today, while the trine is open and the Libra moon is providing its quality of fair witnessing, is a better time to take the first small honest step than to wait until Saturn in Aries makes the choice unavoidable through accumulated pressure. Neptune in Aries is the dreaming edge of this day's sky. It holds the vision that is not yet formed, the sense of what is becoming possible that has not yet become fully real. Venus trine Pluto is precise and clear. Neptune is the soft atmospheric light in which that precision becomes not merely analytical, but genuinely alive in the imagination. Neptune in Aries is the dreaming self catching up to what the waking self has just recognized. It is the part of you that already knows where this recognition is heading, even before the logical mind has worked out the path. Uranus in Gemini, brand new in this sign as of just a few days ago, is in the same sign as Venus today. It is not yet forming a close aspect to Pluto, but its proximity to Venus means that some of what Venus is carrying in this trine has an electric edge to it. Something about the recognition today may arrive in a form that surprises you. Not a slow dawning, but a sudden clarity. The kind that feels like it came from nowhere, even though everything that preceded it was preparation for this moment. Uranus in Gemini does not allow things to remain in the register of vague intuition for long. It insists on articulation, on the moment when the thing that has been half-sensed becomes speakable. And here is what is worth carrying forward from April 28th. The door that Venus trine Pluto opens today is not between who you are and who you might become. It is between who you are and what you have been ready to fully acknowledge about who you already are. Pluto does not create new depths in a person. It illuminates depths that were always there, waiting for the right combination of sky and willingness to become visible. Venus in Gemini is the articulation of those depths, the moment when what has been known without words begins to find its words. What you recognize today about what you want, about what you value, about what genuinely matters to you in the domain of love and connection and beauty and meaning is not new information arriving from outside you. It is your own interior life becoming available to you in a more complete form than it has been recently. The door that opens today opens inward, and what is on the other side of it is not unfamiliar. It is simply more honestly known. That shift from something partially sensed to something honestly known is permanent. It does not require grand action. It requires only the courage to receive what the sky is genuinely offering, which is not a crisis and not a demand, but a quality of clarity that you have earned by being willing to pay attention. Today, the sky rewards that willingness. What it offers will not be withdrawn. What opens today stays open. And that is the quiet but considerable gift of Venus trine Pluto on April 28, 2026. If this resonated with you, please like this video, leave a comment below and subscribe so you receive every transmission that is meant for you. Your presence here is not accidental. See you in the next one.